Hey guys, yep, we're finally back for this clock fic. It's been a while since I got to this series, but I'm only doing this right now because I'm in bed right now and my throat is sore. And I guess I just go ahead and just narrate the clock fic for this chapter. So anyway, yeah, for right now we're in chapter 8, the baby shower. So yeah, let's just hurry get to the story now. Let's go back to the series, so let's do it. On this certain day, someone was suddenly having a really huge sweet craving. Nope. Surprisingly, it wasn't Apple Bloom, or anyone who might have been pregnant at that moment. It was Spike the Dragon, who over the past few months had to deal with a pregnant Apple Bloom while supporting her any way he could. He was really tuckered out one afternoon after volunteering himself to do Apple Bloom's share of chores at the Sweet Apple Anchors with Applejack and Babe Macintosh. Since the nurses at the hospital recently told Apple Bloom to start laying off from doing any kind of labored work, it was so she could relax and be healthy until the baby came. Sorry. After helping out that morning, Spike was making his way to one of the best sweet shops in town, Sugar Cube Corners. As he went through the front settings of dangly doorbell, Spike heard someone greeting him. "Hello, welcome to Sugar Cube Corners. What can I do you for today?" Spike looked up and saw Pinkie Pie waving at him from the counter. "Oh, hi, Pinkie. Where is Mr. and Mrs. Cake?" "They're over at the healthcare center," Pinkie answered. "The Cake twins had a doctor's appointment today around this time, so Mr. and Mrs. Cake asked me to watch the place until they came back." "I'm so irresponsible." Spike lightly chuckled, just being in Pinkie's presence and feeling a bit less doodled out. "Yeah, so you are. Well, since you're the one in charge, I'll have a couple of those special delicious sapphire cupcakes that Miss Cake knows I love so much. 10 of them, I guess." Pinkie flashed a little smirk at Spike, seeing that he was asked for a lot. "Ooh, someone in a hungry dragon today. 10 delicious sapphire cupcakes coming right up." As Pinkie hopped to the back to what Spike wanted, the young dragon just stood there waiting, patiently awaiting his order. But then he caught something just at the corner of his eyes in the main room. He noticed some balloons floating around and some streamers hanging from the ceiling. Suddenly, being curious, Spike went over to that room, and when he got there, he was quite baffled to see a lot of supplies and objects that were probably up for some kind of party. "What's all this stuff for?" said Spike while scratching his head. Suddenly, Pinkie popped up right beside Spike and happily asked, "Do you like it?" "Ah!" Spike screamed as he jumped up and sidled away from Pinkie. "Why do you keep doing that?" Pinkie then held up a container that Spike had ordered from before. "I got your cupcakes. Are they ready for here or to go?" "For here, I guess. For now." The cupcakes did look delicious to Spike, and as he was holding them in his claw, but at the moment he was a bit more curious of all party stuff in the room they were in. "From all of this, I'm pretty guessing you're holding some kind of party as usual." "That's right," Pinkie shouted. "I'm holding a baby shower right here in the shop with Mr. and Mrs. Cake permission, of course. Surely Apple Bloom told you about this, right?" "Oh yeah," Spike admitted. "She might have mentioned something about a baby shower to me at some point. But of course, Apple Bloom isn't going to be the only mayor that will be celebrating their pregnancy. There are a few other who got pregnant too after getting busy with some pony. Isn't mating season great?" Spike wasn't quite sure if he could agree to that statement, not to say that there was a major upside to it. Yeah, it can be, mostly. But anyway, as always, as just going to be just us females being here with each other, celebrating the celebration of life. Even Mr. Cake is going somewhere with Pound Cake, so there will be no males around. What's wrong with males being at a baby shower? Spike questioned. Pinky gave Spike a little noogie on his head while telling him, "Oh, Spiky, Spiky, Spiky. What's wrong with that is, well, technically there's nothing wrong with it, but it's just tradition. You understand, right?" "Yeah, I get it," Spike chuckled. "No males allowed. Gotcha." Spike then took of his cupcakes and took a sorry bite from it. His eyes lit up and looked back at it and said, "Wow, these cupcakes are just as good as remembered. Miss Cake really knows how to satisfy a dragon's stomach." As Spike ate the rest of his single cupcake, Pinky placed her head on his shoulder and asked with a bright grin, "So, Spike, still have any of your sanity left?" Spike looked at her weirdly and said, What? Then he realized what she meant. Oh, yeah, you mean, well, I know it may be a bit nosy of me to ask," Pinky admitted, "but I just wanted to know since you're here." For finishing his cupcake, Spike thought of what to say at first, and then he answered saying, "Well, I haven't smashed my head through a wall yet, so that's a good sign, right? But jokes aside, though, after everything that I have gone through with Apple Bloom so far, I feel contact. Although I think I lost count of how many times I wanted to scream my head off for some of the things Apple Bloom had made me do for her. I could even admit that a few times. I kind of wanted to hit her out of stress." Hearing that made Pinky gasp, and she stepped away from Spike, pointing her hoof at him, and said, "Spike, how dare you think of such a thing?" "Hey, come on," said Spike. "I'm a dragon, okay? We have rage, but thankfully I'm control of that rage. I couldn't bring myself to doing such a thing." "Why?" questioned Pinky suspiciously. "Because she's pregnant, and you couldn't hurt her because of it. Or because you would get treatment much worse from her siblings." Spike knew he wouldn't forgive himself if he had ever struck a claw against Apple Bloom. In the state he was in, she wasn't. But he knew how worse he would have if Applejack and Big Macintosh faced him about it. He couldn't decide which would be worse. Probably both. Although I'm sure the second reason helped more. Earth ponies can really kick your ass when they want to. "You're so funny, Spike," Pinky giggled. "I can't wait to talk to her more on this subject at the shower tonight." "Well, okay, just don't tell her about me having that thoughts of hitting her, please," Spike begged. "Well, okay," said Pinky, flashing a smirk. "But I don't know, my mouth is very chatty. Spike suddenly stood there with his arm crossed, giving Pinky a light glare. Pinky just chuckled in response as she patted Spike on his back and told him, "I'm just kidding. I won't tell her anything of it. Pinky, promise." Spike just smiled at her as he was about to bite into one of his cupcakes. But then he stopped and he placed it back in a container, and he said, "You know, I think I will take the rest of these cupcakes to go. Suddenly, I don't feel like so silly anymore." "Really? What got you down in the first place?" "It was a long morning," Spike admitted, "but it was worth it all." When the sun started to set and the evening was upon the town of Ponyville, it was a time for Pinky's baby shower party to begin. Many different mayors and older fools, with the exception of Pumpkin Cake, were there, and parties was going into full swing. But of course, for Pinky, there was one pony in particular and who she was waiting to arrive on the scene. But sure enough, she saw the front door open in the doorway were the Crusaders, Scootaloo, Sweetie Belle, and Apple Bloom. Pinky ran up to the door in excitement and greeted them as they came in. Apple Bloom, you finally made it! Any party being sponsored and held by you, Pinky? Apple Bloom started. Wouldn't miss it for the world. Pinky looked around Apple Bloom and her friends and noticed that someone was missing. Hey, where's Applejack? Isn't she coming? Don't you remember, Pinky? Said Apple Bloom. She and Big Mac were making a big delivery in the late afternoon, and she said that they may not make it back till late tonight. Oh yeah, I totally forgot that. Applejack told me about that. Oh well, you're here, and that's all that matters. Scootaloo suddenly cleared her throat and said, Hey, we made it too. And that you have, said Pinky, as she came to Scootaloo and gave her a strong noogie on her head. Welcome to the 15th annual Ponyville Baby Shower Bash, hosted by your truly. After letting go, Scootaloo's mane was scattered mess as she glared at Sweetie Belle, who was giggling under her breath. 15, huh? Said Scootaloo as she re-smoothed out her mane. He held his kind a party for that long? That's right, Pinky answered. And I came up with the name myself, if you don't mind already know. However, I did almost decided to give it a brass title version, but then I just thought it sounded too silly. Pinky held up a piece of paper and she wrote on in Apple Bloom read as the annual PBS Bash. Scootaloo and Sweetie Belle lightly chuckled to each other, hearing the aberration BS the title. Apple Bloom rolled her eyes and said, Pinky, to Pinky, yeah, I thought a bit sounds silly. Maybe it's a good thing you stuck with the original title. If you say so, Pinky suddenly turned towards the other mayors who were there and shouted, Hey, every pony, the guest of honor has arrived. Everyone smiled and saw Apple Bloom, who looked a bit shocked and embarrassed from Pinky's sudden outburst. Pinky, come on. I'm nothing of the sort of, I'm just like other normal pregnant ponies out there. Of course you are, said Pinky. But have you already forgotten the fact that you're going to give birth to a very first pony dragon hybrid? No to all of equestrian history? That's like a big deal. How could you not be ecstatic? I know that, but I'm trying not to make a big deal of it. Now, just treat me like I'm an ordinary pregnant pony, okay? No special attention. Penny just stood there staring at Apple Bloom in shock. She was quite surprised of how serious the older filly was handling her situation. Oh wow, really? I remember the time you were excited and so thrilled of what you and Spike accomplished. That's you wouldn't stop talking about it. I know, right? Scootaloo chuckled. Sweetie Belle and I were surprised too when Apple Bloom said that to us. Apple Bloom felt a little awkward of the way of what she was saying, but well, I guess after going through everything that I have started to think more maturely of my situation. After all, this is a huge responsibility. I don't want to mess it up. Alright, Apple Bloom, said Pinky with a bright smile. Is that how you want to feel? Then who am I to argue? I respect your mature decision. Suddenly, seconds after Pinky's words, the cake dollar pumpkin cake came running up to them to the quick fashion. Hey, Miss Apple Bloom, Miss Sweetie Belle, Miss Scootaloo, I'm happy to see you all here. Album gave her a little huge, being careful of her posture. Hey, you little scamp. Nice to see you too. Man, it's sure weird being called Mrs., isn't it? Says Scootaloo. I feel so old. We're not that old, Scootaloo, said Sweetie Belle as she slightly glared at the Pegasus friend. Pumpkin then took out a little decoration card and held it up to Applebloom's wiggling. Miss Applebloom, I know Pinky said that we're supposed to wait till near the end of the party to give out any presents, but I wanted to go ahead and give you this. I hope you like it. Applebloom took the card and saw that on the front was printed symbol of a fireball and an apple, and it said, "Congrats, Miss Bloom." And on the inside were some glitter and some stickers around that read, "Good luck on being a good mother." After reading it, she looked back at Pumpkin and said, "Aw, this is so sweet, Pumpkin. Thank you so. You did this all by yourself?" "Well, actually," said Pumpkin, smiling nervously, it was me and Pound. We made this together, and Daddy wrote the words for us. Pound isn't here right now, so I'm the one giving it to you." Applebloom chuckled and gave Pumpkin another hug as she told her, "Well, when you see your brother next time, tell him this gift is perfect. I love it." "You're welcome," said Pumpkin with a cheerful grin. Pumpkin's mother, Miss Kate, was looking around the shop for her, but when she saw her, she noticed that there was one with Applebloom and her two main friends. And she didn't know how had shown up yet. Hold on, I'm gonna get someone real quick. Alright, I'm back. Alright. "Hey, Miss Cake," said Applebloom. Your daughter here just giving us an early baby shower present. She then held it up to show her. Doesn't it look great? I can tell that a lot of work went into making it." "Well, you know children at their arts and crafts," Miss Cake chuckled. "Their work are truly marvel to behold." "Do you really mean that, Mommy?" Pumpkin questioned. "Of course I do, sweetheart. Now then, would you like to come help me out in the kitchen?" Pumpkin got excited to hear her mother ask her that, and she threw what she had asked herself. "Ooh, can I like the spoon again?" "Of course you can. Just don't overdo it this time. You don't want to ruin your good night's sleep. Or mine's." "Okay." After Pumpkin went off with her mother, the Crusaders suddenly noticed the music that was playing out loud in the building in the building. Of course, it was Vinyl Scratch, who laying out these beats to keep the room living. The select songs playing at the moment was suddenly created an excited vibe in Pinky's body. "Ooh, this is my jam!" That's nice auto too. She shouted as she was headed to the music source. Then she faced Applebloom and asked, "Care to tear it up on the dance floor with me?" Applebloom smiled as she shook her head and said, "No thanks, Pinky. I'm good." Okay, but you're missing out on the fun." The three Crusaders watched Pinky as she got beside Vinyl and began to dance away as the DJ Pony was cheering her on, and some of the other mayors were there watching as well, entirely. Hold on. Alright, sorry, I just changed something. I'm telling you, girls, said Applebloom to her friends, Even when Piggy turns 95 years old, she will still be able to dance crazier than any pony else while breaking at her hip. That's true, said Sweetie Belle and Scootaloo agreed. As the three older fillies looking around, sorry, Abaloom's eyes suddenly caught the sight of the table that housed different kinds of treats and refreshments. She had a mysterious smile as she pointed out to her friends, "Hold up a minute, girls. My stomach has a date with that food table." Sweetie Belle sighed as she shook her head, telling Scootaloo, "Here we go again." The two older fillies followed their pregnant friend over to the food table and saw all that it laid there before them. Sweetie Belle came up to Applebloom and was letting her know, careful, how you do this. How do you do this? Applebloom, this food is for every pony, not just you. Hey, said Applebloom, smirking at her friends. Never get between a pregnant mare who is hungry and delicious food. Not that which I would try to hurt you two. Well, you certainly didn't hesitate to hurt Spike now, did you? Said Sweetie Belle. Remembering that moment that Sweetie mentioned, Scootaloo chuckled as she brought it up. Yeah, remember that one time when Spike thought you had enough of those sweet cakes that Mr. and Mrs. Cake were selling at a low price and thought he could stop you, but then you tackled him on the ground and threatened him that you will kick his sorry ass if he tried that again? You caused such a scene that day. Yeah, it's a good thing that I wasn't with you at that time, said Sweetie Belle. I would have been so embarrassed. No offense. Applebloom slightly blushed from her embarrassment, but smiled as she said, "Don't worry about it. You girls do have a point. Even I'm surprised that I didn't think about while thinking. I wonder if any of the pregnant mares here did something similar. I wouldn't be surprised," said Scootaloo. "But do we really want to find that out?" Everything was going pretty well at the baby shower, with all the mares sharing conversations and having fun. But now Applebloom and her friends were about to achieve a little surprise as they heard someone speak of them from behind. Well, I was wondering if you were going to be here, but I guess it was stupid of me to think that you were not." They all turned around and saw the two fillies that they did not expect to see at the party. "Tiara? Silverspoon?" said Scootaloo. Silverspoon was smiling and waving at them, with Tiara beside her in non-called exclamation. Come on. I got a cough. It sucks ass doing a sore throat right now. "Well, this is a surprise," said Sweetie Belle. "What are you two doing here? Isn't it obvious, you two?" says Applebloom. "They're obviously here to show their support because they're our friends. We are friends, right?" The Crusaders were waiting for a response out of Silverspoon and Tiara, but Silverspoon wasn't just looking at Tiara, who wasn't saying anything at first. Her face seemed a bit flushed and nervous, like she was hiding something. "Are you going to tell them, or shall I?" Silverspoon questioned her. Tiara suddenly held up her hoof and shook her head as she looked back up to the Crusaders and said, "Look, maybe we are here to, show a little support, but that's not the only reason that we're here." "But what other possible reason do you possibly have to be here?" Applebloom asked. But at the moment, she suddenly looked down under Tiara's, noticed that her stomach was a little plump. And not the kind of plump of eating a lot. Applebloom's eyes went wide as she hesitated, said, "Wait, don't tell me that you're..." Gathering all her courage, she told them her reasons. "Yeah, I too am like pregnant. Scootaloo and Sweetie Belle looked at each other with wide eyes and then looked back at Tiara in shock with their mouths hanging open. Then they both shouted, "What? You're pregnant too?" "I know, right?" said Silver Spoon with a amused smirk. I had the same reaction when Tiara told me. "But how can you be pregnant?" Apple exclaimed. "You told me that you did the test, that it was negative." "I know what I said, and it was truth," Tiara scattled. "But it was about a few months after I told you that. I was starting to feel weird and was getting strange cravings. I knew I already tested myself, but I decided to try it again. Then suddenly, I saw the results, and it was positive. My dad freaked out, and so did I, for that matter." Applebloom and her friends were quite surprised and felt a bit awkward seeing Tiara like this. Sweetie Belle and Scootaloo remembered their friend Applebloom telling them about her run in Silver Spoon, and of how Tiara didn't get pregnant like she did. "Wow, I don't know what to say," said Applebloom. "This is really surprised, but wait, if you had already found out that you were pregnant, why didn't we hear about it all this time?" "Well, it's not like I wanted to seek you out and say, 'Hey, Applebloom, like, guess what? I'm pregnant just like you.' I felt too embarrassed to tell any pony about it except Silver Spoon and my dad and my family doctor." "If you feel ashamed and so embarrassed," said Scootaloo, "then why didn't you come here anyway?" "Silver Spoon talked me into it," Tiara groaned. "I don't know why I even listened to her. This is stupid." Applebloom suddenly felt a little bit sorry for Tiara. She understood of how she was probably feeling, except it seemed that she was taking a bit of harder than she had. Sorry, guys. "Come on, Tiara. There's nothing to be ashamed of. After all, I didn't expect myself to be pregnant either. But I'm so welcome to the club." But Tiara didn't feel the same way. "You don't get it, do you? I wasn't planning to be a pregnant yet. I'm so not ready. I like cracked under the pressure. My life is going to blow up big time. I totally regret my decision of ever getting luckily split again between my legs." Tiara suddenly gasped as she suddenly covered her mouth. She didn't mean that for them to hear that. "Oh, damn it. Lickly split? It was lickly spit whom you had sex with?" said Applebloom. "Wow, not bad of a choice, Tiara," said Sweetie Belle. "He's kind of cute. Plus, he's pretty good accurate," said Scootaloo. "I agree you chose good." Silver Spoon looked at Tiara and tried to see if any of Tiara's stress had went down and see Tiara as you... "I told you that there was nothing to be ashamed of, but it hadn't. Isn't the point I'm trying to make, Silver Spoon? I just want this to be just a nightmare that will blow away. I'm sort of scared." Applebloom just smiled as she went over to Tiara's place her hoof over her shoulder. Tiara was crying for a bit and was making other crusaders feel a bit uncomfortable, but Applebloom understood and was surprisingly trying to lift Tiara up. "Look, Tiara, I know this may seem scary, and trust me, I know, but instead of looking at the negative side of things, think of the positive, good thing side of things. That's what I did. And don't think that you'll be alone in all. This is for you need help and comfort. And you have your dad. You have your best friend. And you have Liquid Split, who should embrace his new responsibilities too. If he's not, maybe I'll get my sister to talk sense to him. Also, if you want, we'll be there for you too. Tiara was looking up at Apple Bloom in slight shock that she was talking to her friend with this, but she then turned away, practically not to feel affected at all, while saying, "Why the hell are you being so nice and supportive of me? Does becoming a mother really makes you that much of a softie? Come on, Tiara. What happened between us is all in the past. We're older and more mature now, and we don't have to look back at all what was. Just what is now, plus it's not too late to make friends. Even with the ones you had picked on constantly. We forgive you, right, girls?" Sweetie Belle smirked and noodled. "Yeah, we do." "Not being fully truthful," Scootaloo said. "Perhaps I do." But Sweetie Belle kneeled her in her side and set her straight. "Ow! Okay, I forgive you too." Tiara felt a little better after a surprisingly pep talk with Apple Bloom, but she was still trying to be cool about it. "Alright, fine. Thanks, I guess. But don't think I'm suddenly going to get all mushy or anything." Apple Bloom just smiled and shrugged. "Works for us." "See, Tiara? See, Silver Spoon? Wow. See, Tiara?" said Silver Spoon with a smile. "I told you there was nothing to be ashamed or embarrassed about this. Everything's going to be just fine." Says the pony who's not pregnant. After that, Apple Bloom decided to have a few sweets and fruits on the table before going around with her friends and conversing with the other mares and older fillies there, including Fluttershy, who couldn't resist to come and enjoy herself. Apple Bloom enjoyed some neat advice and opinions with the very few that were pregnant like her. But of course, she was the highlight of it, all because what she was carrying in her belly. After a good bit of time passed, the time came for what Pinkie got and every pony attention on her on the moment most of them were waiting for. "Alright, every pony, I'm sure we all been enjoying ourselves tonight, hanging out with each other, having merry time, but we all know what the real reasons why we're here. Am I right, Carrot Top?" She knows what I'm talking about. Carrot Top was nearby, giving Pinkie a low-eyed look. "Let's not dwell on that, okay, Pinkie?" Anyway, so this season we have new no pregnancy records with only 5 of us mares being imperfected. Silver Spoon then walked up to Pinkie and whispered something in her ear as she pointed at her friend Diamond Tiara. "Whoops, my bad, making that 6 of us. Now, I don't know exactly what it's like to be a mother, but I do help take care of 2 twins, fools. So, I guess that kind of counts, right?" "You're not our mommy," said Pumpkin and giggled. "You're our auntie." "Oh, well, never mind that. Continue to enjoy the sweet jam and stuffing yourself silly at the food table, but not too much. However, it's time for what many of us were waiting for. Baby shower gift."